I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight first on, obviously, which is a pretty cool evening. Tonight's program isn't going to last any more than 2 hours. Tom will only speak for about 90 minutes of that. I have the pleasure of introducing my friend Tom, who I got to know working with him as a volunteer on town issues. And over those years, I developed an incredible amount of respect and admiration for both Tom's acumen, his integrity, and his work ethic. So when Tom asked about running for select board and if I would help, I didn't even have to think twice about it. And there's several other people here too: Don Terrell, Dave Usher, John Avery, Jeff Bartley, Pam Loringer, there you are, who are also stepped up to help Tom run an organized campaign, not simply just putting lawn signs out. And the reason why we think this is so important is not to just support Tom. For me personally, I had brought my 2 props tonight, my daughter and my son, the third still in hiding. But I'm really concerned about the direction of our community. Our select board is composed of many nice people. My mom's a nice woman. I love her very much, but I wouldn't want her in charge of my town. And Tom brings to the plate a willingness to act. He brings a willingness to be held accountable, and of course, most importantly, integrity. And with that, Tom, I'm with you all the way till the end.
Thank you.
I wish you the best, and those of you here are all obviously friends and know Tom somewhat. Any way that you can help Tom, if you're the shy type and aren't willing to knock doors with us or make phone calls, I think Tom will accept cash. Right? The treasurer, Don, will. So,
I've heard that cash is as good as money. I've made a few notes on some cards, and I want to try to stick to that so we don't get off the topic and get sidetracked. First of all, thank you, Mo. First of all, thank you all for coming. And I'd like to tell you why I think we're here. Taxes are going up, and services are going down. The grand list is not growing. We remain in status quo. And it appears that we're in an economic freefall, and I'll get into some of that to explain what I'm talking about. I have a passion for Colchester and a long history here. And I have a great relationship, I think, with this town. So I feel like I need to get into it and get something done. 3 years ago, the Evergreen study came to town, and we were seeking a vision and a 10-year strategy. At that time, I was thinking of running for the select board. But instead, I accepted an appointment with the select board to accomplish that mission. Some of us in the room worked on that, and it took a long time to put it together. We asked for some money and weren't provided any money either, so we went to the Colchester Community Development Corporation and asked for some funds to get that done. It was graciously given, and we began. We ended up with what's called the Heritage Project. And we went through governance, education, the economy, the infrastructure, tourism, and agriculture, and the environment. We tried to cover all the different things that we might be needing here in the town. This was presented to the select board a year ago. Some of the items have been implemented, but priorities have not been set. We don't all seem to be working on the same goal and going in the same direction. The town plan was due in July. Without a town plan, we can't function. As chair of the planning commission, I'm responsible for that town plan. And when I went to the select board, their answer was to extend the current plan for 5 years. That's another status quo. In arguing at that time with the select board, I was told, well, let's make it 6 months. 6 months is up today. We still have no plan. The other evening, I went to the select board and asked them for a date, and I didn't receive one. Another thing that seems to be missing here in Colchester is our economic development team itself. As you know, we have no economic development director. We have no one working on marketing. We have no working on business retention. We find a number of businesses leaving our town to go elsewhere. And we haven't come up with a branding, which was also a recommendation to get the job done. Again, we seem to be remaining in status quo. Now, since nothing was going on in that particular area, James and I decided to approach the town manager and go off on our own to see what we could do. We have been visiting with state representatives. We have been to Senator Leahy's office. We have been to Senator Sanders' office. We're in the process of going to see Mr. Welsh. They're all supportive. We have been to see the business people up in Montpelier to the AIB luncheon, and we listened to past governor Jim Douglas, current governor Mr. Shumlin, and also Randy Brock speak at that meeting, and they all talked about things that we could be possibly doing in business. We also invited the Secretary of Commerce, State Secretary of Commerce, to come and talk to the staff here in Colchester. His Assistant Secretary, Ms. Moulton, also came to visit with us. We invited Brent Raymond, who's the proponent of the EB-5 program that's working so well up in the Northeast Kingdom. And we have Ms. Powden arranging for us to meet with Bill Stenger up in Jay to see how he's developing the Northeast Kingdom. As you know, he just received and is working with $600 million to pull that from where it is. We also met with the Greater Burlington Industrial Corporation. Now, interesting enough, all of these people are interested in Colchester. They're interested in helping us, and their question was, what do you need? What do you want? Show us your plan. We don't have one. That's what's missing. I was asked point blank the other evening at the select board meeting, what would you do? I wasn't there to answer that question. I didn't answer that question, but I've been thinking about it, and I'd like to answer it now. I believe I understand the issues. And I believe what we need here is common business sense. The first thing I think we should do is to identify priorities, and in particular one that we all can be working on at the same time. The second thing that progresses then, if you get that particular piece done, is to conduct a business case. That's something we don't do. Once that's conducted and you go further, you can determine the return on investment you will get from that particular business case. Having gone that far, you can now create a master plan and put the things together to see how it would look. Assuming that works, now you can get into the marketing of that proposal and tell others about it, get them interested. You need then to secure partners and funding to make that happen. And at that point, and only at that point, do we go to the voters and say, we'd like you to participate, and here are the reasons why. We now understand and know them all. Then it becomes very difficult because we have to enact the timeline, identify the checkpoints and milestones, run from the beginning to the end, and of course then do an audit. That's what I think, and that's the way I think we should be doing our business. I think I can bring that way of doing things to that particular branch of government. Now let me talk a little bit about spending. Spending today at a level slightly less than the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, or the CLA, which is the Cost of Living Allowance, when it appears to be frugal, and you're looking at it today, everything seems to seem fine. But when you start looking at that same thing 10 and 15 years from now, you very quickly find that you run out of funds. And in doing so, you had better have provided additional revenues to sustain your future. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I think we need to be doing here in Colchester, and that advantage has to be had for us. I'm not going to go much further than that. I think that's enough for me to kind of say. In closure, I'm hoping that everyone here this evening will find some time to help me with this campaign. I know a lot of you have offered me. And I'm also hoping that you'll vote for me to voice your support and your interests when I get to the level of select board. Common sense dictates that rising taxes and falling services are not the answer to what we're talking about. I'll work very hard to secure that sustainability that I'm talking about for all of us. Thank you.
Do you visualize any ways that the select board and the school board could work together to address issues that are common interest to the town, that are rising costs, declining enrollments, things like this that aren't part of the select boards, but other ways of economies of scale that could be brought about?
Dick Pecor and I just had that discussion. Dick is on the school board. We had it 2 Sundays ago at coffee over at church. What he was saying was he was having a very difficult time approaching and getting someone to talk with him from the town. I hear the same thing from the town side, that it's very difficult to work with the school. I suggest, and you're suggesting, that that's something that we should be doing. Dick is saying there's lots of land to be doing different things with there if we were to all use it at the same time. I'm suggesting, from the least, that we all ought to buy our fuel together to get a discount on what that happens. There's lots of things more that we can do. And if you recall, in the Heritage Project, it says that we should be working and we should be having at least monthly meetings with the school board to accomplish those types of things. Yes, the answer is yes. Certainly that can be done. Yes, Jason?
Yeah, question. There are a couple economic development pieces I think the current select board is working. I wanted to see what you thought about them, and that is trying to get membership into the CCTA and working on developing a sewer core in Fire District 2, Mounts Bay area.
I'm not too familiar with the second one. However, I will be getting updated on all of these things as I continue on through the campaign. I've talked with Mark Landry, some about the sewer situation. The first one, the CCTA, transportation is something that is drastically needed in this particular town, if you look at it, because it's the only town in the area that doesn't have such a thing. I find it difficult for me to avail myself of that particular service where I live. However, I do know that if we do have that service, that there's many people that do work here and work at exit 16 and other places, and also transfer through here to Milton and from Milton, that could use the service to work and get themselves to work. Same as for the college and other things. So I think it's very beneficial, and I think there's plenty of places that it can work. There's a second piece to that. As we continually try to bring different things and developers here into the city, into the town, we are lacking to be able to check the box, public transportation. Now, public transportation is important for our TIF at Severance Corners. It's also important for exit 16, and it would be important for exit 17 if we ever get to that. So yes, I agree with that. I don't agree, or I do agree also with what happened the other evening, and that is that they should postpone what they're doing until we can go through this list of things that I just talked about to get the proper information to the voters to be able to make a decision as to why it's important to them. Tell me, please, why it's important, although I can't use that transportation for me in my town. What will it do for me in reducing my taxes? And it will. I don't think we're there yet. The second piece is something that we've been working on for some time, and that is the development of the bay. Some people do and some people don't want to see the bay developed. I would like to see it done properly so everyone would enjoy what the results would be. And there are developers out there that can do that as well. In order to do that, we need infrastructure. We not only need the sewer, we need another road. We need a bypass to West Lake Shore Drive. Some time ago, I think it was in 2009, I'm not sure, we did the West Lake Shore Drive study. That was something I asked to have people come into the commission to do for us. We have a complete understanding as to what that is, what needs to happen. It was provided to the select board at that particular point in time and put on the shelf. It's going nowhere. I agree with both of them. I agree with some other things they're doing. I agree with the governance group that's together right now to take a look at the charter. I agree with the form-based zoning that the commission just presented to them, that they're going to be putting onto the books at Severance Corners to make things look like maybe a downtown. But we haven't identified that priority as to what we're all going to be looking at. Those are scattered. So those things are in some of the project that we talked about. We're getting there, but at a slow rate and not all playing on the same page. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Anyone else? David?
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to say a couple of words on Tom's behalf.
Thank you.
Tom and I have worked together on a heritage project, and as I've come to know Tom in a setting where a diverse group of people with different ideas need to come together and produce a product, Tom is the type of guy who sees where the variables are and finds a way to get to the common core so that you wind up with a product that is reasonable, not perfect, but doable. And what I've been particularly impressed with is that he's smart, his integrity is beyond question. He looks for accountability. If somebody's got a job to do, he expects them to produce what it is they said they were going to do, and he's focused. So the notion of setting priorities for the town is really the only way we're going to make any progress. We're too large, there's too much going on around us to just sort of idle through taking whatever comes across the threshold and deal with it. We need, in my view, and I think Tom shares this, is we need to take a planned approach. We need to focus the budget around that approach so that the money that we're spending, the $10 or $11 million that we're spending, is targeted around the priorities that Tom talked about that need to be identified. Tom knows the issues, he has the background, he's worked through this. It isn't as though he's just walking in off the street and said, boy, I'd like to be a selectman. So I'm 115% behind Tom's effort here, and I would encourage everybody that you know to vote for Tom, including, I'm sure, you. And if you're a snowbird, or if you know snowbirds, before they leave, if they haven't already gone, you need to get absentee ballots so that we can vote.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Tom.
Pam Loranger. I have the privilege and the pleasure to have met Tom and worked with him now for 5 years on the Planning Commission. Over those 5 years, we've done an extraordinary amount of work under his leadership. We worked on the village core, we worked on Shipman Hill, we worked on sign ordinances, form-based zoning, and now we're looking at another supplement, looking at Heineberg and Prim Road.
How about seawalls?
And seawalls. Oh yes, thank you, Tom. That was a long slog. Thank you. Can't forget that. In any event, in the course of all that work, Tom was very gracious, engaged people to come in, have dialogue, to talk with us, to hear their points of view from the areas that would affect them, and have an exchange that was productive, informative, and helpful for both sides, both parties. And then to that extent, we move forward in a collaborative way with our community, with the citizens, so that they had their voices heard and we could incorporate their feelings and their sentiments into the work that we were doing for the supplement in the zoning regulations. I commend him for guiding that course and for keeping us on track to have that such a successful process. And I've enjoyed working with you, Tom. I continue to enjoy working with you and support you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
And I'm going to add my 2 cents in as well. I'm Dawn Terrell, and I'm supporting Tom. And this isn't something I do. I haven't gotten involved in local politics. And I'm only doing this, really. I met Tom when we started a year and a half ago, maybe it's 2 years now, on the Heritage Project. So I don't get involved in much locally. Tom managed to get me involved. And what I observed in that process was he actually got a lot of new people in Colchester engaged in a process of doing the Heritage Project. And a lot of energy was built around it, and I think there's a lot of opportunity in the work that was done there. And Tom's still got the energy and the passion to carry that forward, and I don't think we'd have a better guy to make that happen for us. What's really compelling for me as well, when Tom talks about new revenue, he's not talking about raising all of our taxes. He understands that we need a strong economic development base here in the town, and we've got to figure out how to make that happen so that we can do all these great things in the community and have a sustainable budget going forward. So I support Tom for all those reasons. I think he's got a passion and an energy. Absolutely, everybody said integrity. I think we've seen that time and time again with Tom. So I encourage you all as well to be joining us and reaching out, emails, Facebook, if you're, however you can get the word out, that we're looking for some change in leadership here in Colchester. Also, tonight, if you haven't already, I'm doing a little homework thingies. There was a sign-in sheet on that table, so if you haven't already, if you could sign in and give us some information, that would be helpful. And remember, I wear the treasurer's hat, so we are going to be raising, and we are raising some funds to help make this happen. We've got to do lawn signs and phone calls and cell phones, or however we're going to make all of that happen. So if you can help out a little bit financially, there's an opportunity here, and then you'll be seeing things throughout the campaign, ways that you might be able to help support financially as well. So thank you. And Tom, we see you winning.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
So I'd like to make a comment as a citizen. Tom, you and I just met this evening.
Brian Brennan.
Pam and I go to meetings all the time, and one of the things that I see that I think you can really bring to the select board is you have a vision for the town, and you want to represent the citizens of the town. I personally feel that the select board is infected with self-interest, arrogance. I've gone before the select board and been ridiculed because I wanted to present a different opinion as to where the select board felt we should spend our funds. But the other thing, I don't think the select board has any sense of priorities for this town. And if you look at the way we spent our funds, for example, you can talk about the Holy Cross fiasco that was clearly defeated. But I look forward to you for you to bring a sense of priorities to that work, and I will support you 100% in whatever way I can.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brian.
I'd like to piggyback on your statement about the Heritage Project, because...
This is Irene Duchesneau.
Yes, I relate. But that was such an energizing initiative. So the energy from all kinds of people that never showed up anywhere, but they supported the different facets that were of interest to them. So how can that be resurrected at the same time that we're looking for new leadership on the select board? There's people out there, and they were challenged, and they responded.
Yes, there were a lot of new faces involved in that.
A lot of new faces
right?
that you would never have seen otherwise. So it really hit a core of values and interests that would support all of the vision that Tom brought to that. So it's too bad to drop that population. You must have all their names.
We do.
So better tap into those people.
We will. We are.
Get the mix infected.
You know, I think I made a statement here in this room the other evening, is that the things that we're talking about, the problems that we identify, and the things we intend to fix, are not going to be fixed in this room. They're going to be fixed by the people and the private sector and the folks that are out in the community. That's who's going to get it fixed. It's not the people sitting at the table. The people in the town hall can provide the administration and the services to help them get that done. It's the people. It's you folks that do it. That's how it happened. How do we get the buildings built, huh? Clinton Reichert.
I'm Clinton Reichert. I'm a veterinarian. I have one simple story to tell about Tom. I'm president of the Historical Society, otherwise known as the Hysterical Society. And we had a little project over here in the house, the parsonage, which is our home as the Historical Society. And nobody would know what this was. It was just putting in a little piece of metal into the door jamb as you walked in. It was tearing up our linoleum. We went and got everything, and I supervised. The thing that impressed me most was, as he was putting it in, one of the nails, the screws, did not go in properly. And it would have been very, very easy for Tom, nobody would have ever seen it, to just leave it that way. But he didn't. And his statement was, I hate when things aren't done properly. That's Tom. That is Tom. He also did one heck of a job with my wife to get that schoolhouse done. It was done excellently and properly and to federal standards.
That's hard.
That's hard. We did. Secretary of Interior, Federal Standards, yes.
I think it's safe to say Tom gets things done.
Yep.
Thank you all for coming. There are some palm cards over here that I'd like you to peruse or take with you. It's got some information on it. We still have some more cookies. We have candy. We have candy?
No.
I lied. We don't have any candy.
Palm cards and cookies. What
We have palm cards and cookies. What